Hello and welcome to the Prelims 2022 talk. This is a conversation with you to just get you ready for the final day, which is the 5th of June 2022. I'm going to be talking to you about four extremely important things. First, the frame of mind. Second, how do you approach the paper? Third, a brief non-academic checklist that will help you be prepared for the day. And lastly, some logistical support just in case you are caught up in the middle of things. So let's begin. At the very outset, I have given you a full Magna Carta series, which is nothing but a prelims crash course. You can download the notes for those series from the download section of the website. I've given you a consolidated current affairs document for Prelims 2022, not only for polity and governance and IR, but also for all GS subjects. I've also given you important schemes. I've put all of this in as concise a document as possible. Over and above this, I've given you 6 full-length tests that I hope you are able to revise properly. They have been curated with utmost attention, making sure that only what is relevant is asked. And also, I've been giving you a current affairs compilation called What a Month for the last 12 months. You'll find all of this in the download section as well. You studied all that you could have, but it still seems like everything else is pending. Nothing will seem ever enough, and it is only natural to feel that nothing will seem ever enough. And a lot of you are going to be constantly fighting with yourself, trying to calm yourself down. Now, of course, the easy way out is you should remain calm. But the real question is, how do you remain calm? And to answer why and how should you remain calm, you must also have the answer to the question, what is not making you calm? In all likelihood, it is the consequences of the exam. For the next 3 days, you have to escape from what could happen after the 5th of June. All that matters for the next 3 days, all that matters on the 5th of June are those questions in front of you. What happens after you solve those questions? What will be your result? What makes sense? What will follow? How will life shape up? What all is at stake? These are legitimate, genuine concerns, but they have to be locked away till the prelims exam. Under no circumstances, the best of students know more than 30 to 35 questions for sure. Most of you, for most of the questions, will try to derive the answer from a list of options that has been given to you. You have to take that as a challenge. Trying to come to the answer with the information that is being given to you in the question. Everything else becomes background noise and must be muted. For example, this is a question from the 2021 paper that I had absolutely no idea about. But I was looking at the question. Magnetite particles suspected to cause neurodegenerative problems are generated as environmental pollutants from which of the followings? Brakes of motor vehicles, engines of motor vehicles, microwave stoves within homes, power plants, and telephone cables. I look at the option combinations, still not able to eliminate something. Let me see what am I able to derive from the question. Magnetite means it has something to do with iron. And when we say magnetite particles, this means they are particulate in nature, they are tangible, they are solid, these are actual sort of emissions of some kind, and they're suspected to cause neurodegenerative problems. Sounds like a complicated word. Neuro, nerves. Degenerative, degeneration of the nerves. Perhaps. So, let us say neurological problems. These are generated as environmental pollutants from which of the following? So, for something to generate iron or magnet kind of particles, there must be an actual machine, there must be some form of tangible material that is being taken out. It must be physical, it must be of some solid nature, because that's how magnetite particles are. Particles have to be of a solid nature, right? Now let us see. Brakes of motor vehicles, engines of motor vehicles. Both of them are a part of the machinery of motor vehicles. If one has to be true, then the second definitely has to be true. So any option which does not have both 1 and 2 can easily be eliminated. Now see, microwave stoves, power plants and telephonic lines. If microwaves were generating magnetite particles and we were heating food in the microwave, those particles would come inside the food and therefore would cause not just neuro problems but so many other things. And therefore we must actively look at banning microwaves. And we know microwaves are a form of radiation. They're not solid in nature. So I would assume that this can't be the case. So any option which actually has microwave within stoves, I can try and eliminate. And what am I left with? 1, 2 and 4. Similarly, telephonic lines, right? So I had no idea about this question. But I just sat back, looked at the question, understood the question and the social reality that I live in, and tried my level best to come to an answer. But the only precondition was I was calm as calm can be. If I was agitated, if I was nervous, if I didn't read the question carefully, I would have committed a mistake. So this is what I'm talking about. Be calm. There will be something, some form, something, whether the word will mean something or the question will give you a hint to the options. So in that scenario, you will be able to eliminate some or the other form of questions, right? Or some of the other form of options. This is just to demonstrate that you have to be incredibly calm when you're trying to solve a question that you have no idea about, right? Now, how do you actually approach the paper? This is also incredibly important. The first two principles is you have to avoid what is called the set bias. We understand that the UPSC gives you 4 different sets. So a person may get a candidate may get set A, somebody would get set B, somebody would get C, and somebody would get set D. Now the order of the questions change across each of the sets so that the candidates cannot cheat. It just might be unlucky for you that when you open the paper, the first 10-15 questions are from an area that you have no idea about or isn't your strong subject. That doesn't mean that the rest of the paper isn't. So you don't have to let the set bias get to you. You don't have to get worried or anxious or nervous or agitated or confused that what have I done with my life? I've prepared for an entire year or more and I can't even solve the first 10 questions that are before me. Don't let the set bias affect you. It's very important. If you think that the first 5-10 questions are, say, let's say from science and tech, and let's say like me, you're not very good at science and tech, move to the next section. See if you can get a few polity questions right. Get back in the game. Get back to calming your nerves down. That's the most important part. So that's the first bias that you have to fight. The second bias that you have to fight is the subject bias. Now, as a lawyer, I will take it as a personal insult and a personal failure when I don't get a polity question right, or if I have to struggle with it. And will that make me question my existence as a whole? Will that make me even question myself? Am I even worth it? At the same time, will I read too much into the question? Usually, the most simple answer is the correct answer. The most obvious explanation is the correct explanation. I can understand that the answer keys of 2021 are a little surprising on a lot of fronts, but that's okay. Usually, the most rational, the most obvious answer, the most logically derived answer with the most basic interpretation is the right answer. So, for example, eco students, when they see a question on aggregate demand or the impact of, say, inflation on something, don't get into complex principles of economic, macroeconomic, financial, fiscal policy, and so on and so forth. Look at the basics. This is an exam to test your basics. And you must be looking at the paper in 3 rounds. This is important. In the first round, solve the questions that you are absolutely sure of. This will be about 20 to 30 for most candidates. And don't worry about it. Have your own key, which you use as symbols for marking on the questions. Now, I understand that the instructions say that you should not mark on the paper, but if the invigilator is not too strict, please use these symbols. The questions that you think you can eliminate, the questions that you think you just have to spend 5 more minutes on, and you will be able to derive some or the other answer out of it, let us say, mark a star around it, or say a square around it. The question that you have absolutely no idea about, that you will have to play completely blind with, you can put a question mark or you can put a circle. Have these keys embedded in your mind. Once your first round is over, take a stock of how many questions are you getting right. Because after the first round, you will have maximum accuracy. These are the questions that you are dead set to get right for most of them. At least above 70 to 75% accuracy. Now see the gap that you have to fill to reach, say, a safe score of about 100. Okay? Usually, no matter how tough the paper is, try and reaching the 100 benchmark. If it's exceptionally tough, most of us will not be able to reach the 100 benchmark. But try to reach the 100 benchmark. Always remember that. Once you've taken a stock, then start with your starred questions. Now you will see 2 kinds of questions. For example, you will see question 1, option A, B, C, D, choose the correct one. You will see question number 2, statement 1, 2, 3, and then you will see options where they will say 1 and 2, 1, 2 and 3, 1 and 3, 1 only, and so on and so forth. Try solving these questions first, because here you get to play with option combinations. You'll be able to better eliminate from option combinations. So when you're attempting start questions, try attempting statement combination questions first and then move to blanket statements, either of which have to be right. And once you're done with this, take a stock again. Assume that you're going to be operating on a 50 to 60% accuracy. Take a stock of how close you are to your 100 mark. And then start attempting the remainder. Don't sit and predict the cutoff while attempting the paper. If it is an easy paper, the cutoff is going to be 100. If it's a tough paper, it's going to be between 90 to 100. It's that simple. But your job should always be to try and get as close to 100 as possible so that you're not hanging in the balance, right? Do this, have a method to the madness, have some organization to the chaos, and you will be able to solve the paper and you will not even know when the time has lapsed. There are several tricks, there are several elimination methods. I'm sure your other subject teachers would have also taught you the same. I have given you a few of those in the Polity PYQ series as well, that I've also uploaded on YouTube. Use them. If they could apply to PYQs in Polity, they could also apply to other subjects as well. So think of those. A lot of times GS questions also are like English comprehension questions. So for example, there's a question that says, from the decline of the Gupta Empire. That means Gupta Empire has not completely been eliminated. So if one of the options has Guptas, that will definitely be one of the correct answers, because it hasn't completely finished. I had no idea about the historical timeline, but the statement is telling me there is a from the decline. The statement is not telling me that the period has ended. So use those kind of tricks. Think about it on those fronts, right? So this is something that you must know. Now, apart from this, there are a few things I need you to be absolutely taking care of. This is as important as your academic preparation. I will not take a lot of your time. I will just run you through the basics. General guidelines, please stop eating from outside. If you have a person who's giving you tiffin and you've been eating the tiffin for a long time and you know that your stomach is taken care of, continue doing that. If you have to order from outside, please order from places that you know are hygienic. Generally, national food chains, regional food chains, they serve you hygienic food. So even if you have to spend a little bit more, but you have to make sure that the food that you're eating is absolutely hygienic. You cannot afford to have an upset stomach, because it will then take your concentration away. Attempting the paper with calmness also takes a piece from you. Is very, very draining as an exercise. So you have to keep yourself healthy in the first place. Second, please start aligning your sleep to the biological clock, or please start aligning your biological clock in the next 2-3 days with the exam. Now I can understand that a lot of you might just be lying in bed. You may not be able to study, but you may not be able to sleep also. First things first, don't use an electronic device to scroll things. Don't use social media, even if you don't want to, come back to the channel and watch my classes, that's also fine, that's okay. But the first thing that you must not do is, please do not, at any given point of time, sit with a phone or a tablet or a computer in your hand. 2, just before sleeping, for those of you who have a habit of smoking, please don't smoke before you sleep. You will not be able to sleep for a long time because of the ingredients of it. Third, if you're still not tired, you may be mentally tired but not physically tired, what you can do is do a quick 5 or a 10-minute workout in your room. Sweat it out a bit. When your body gets physically tired, and even if you're having a mental resistance, the body might push you to sleep. That's very important. Meditation is something that personally I don't know the scientific effects of, but just sitting calm without a lot of thoughts bothering you and focusing on your breath, just being with yourself is good, is a great relaxation exercise, right? And because most parts of the country are incredibly hot right now, most parts of the country are experiencing unusual summers, you have to be very careful to please stay hydrated. Okay, now a day or two before the exam, keep your exam kit ready. multiple copies of your admit card, your ID card, your black and ball, your ballpoint pens, you've slept well, you've eaten healthy, you've set enough alarms. uh, Tell your guardians, tell your parents, tell your roommates, whoever you can, to just make sure that you're up on time. If you're getting up late, you're in a hurry, then you might not reach. Every year, I get at least 30 to 40 calls on the day of the exam that, sir, we got late and now we are reaching the exam hall late, and some of you may not be permitted to enter, and some of you may not be able to be focused because it has sort of broken the piece. Not only this, if possible, if you don't know where the center is, what you can always do is just go visit the center a day before or 2 days before. Identify areas around the center where you can sit in between your papers if it is a center which is far away. If it is a center which is really far away, there is no harm taking a room on a daily basis or just for one day before near the center, so that you can relax between your two papers, because you need to be very sharp for your CSAT paper also. So if you can afford to, say, book a room and rest for some time, that's also great. If you can't, you could hire an 8-hour, 10-hour cab and sleep in the cab, or find a good restaurant where you can sit, relax in comfortable air conditioning, eat and all of those things. So know your perimeter, know your periphery. It's very important. Okay. If your center is in a different city, please make sure that you're not reaching on the day of the exam but a day before at least, so that you are familiar with your surroundings. And please make sure that you've packed enough stationery and also enough meds. Keep some chocolates, keep a Red Bull, keep some Coca-Cola, keep some meds for headache, for a bad stomach, for for cough, for headache, for anything. Keep your basic medical kit ready. Go to your nearby chemist and tell them to give you a basic medical kit. They will keep a band-aid in case you get hurt somewhere. Just make sure that if there's anything that you need, you have it with you, right? Very, very important. Uh, on the day of the exam, this is where things become slightly more important. Get up early, eat light, reach the venue at least half an hour before. Now, in a lot of centers, you will see a 5 or a 10-minute delay, or you might not see the centers to be very well organized. Do not panic. If the center is starting your exam 10 minutes late, then they will have to give you 10 more minutes. So don't worry about that. There are center superintendents, there are UPSC personnel, there are government officials who will take care of this. Don't sit and fight. Just maintain your peace. Very, very important. Pay the absolute amount of attention when you're filling your OMR sheets, when you're filling your attendance sheets. The answer booklet number, the question booklet number. There are corners of the OMR sheet beyond which you cannot write. If you do that, often it can be disqualified. Circling another number and writing the numeric number differently, that could be a problem. So please fill your OMR sheets very, very carefully. And though I understand technically you're not supposed to write anything on the question paper, it is okay, but you can use your markings, you can do your CSAT calculations very neatly so that you can cross-check them in case you want to verify an answer, right? A lot of students first mark the answers on the question paper and then convert it into the OMR sheet. The chances of error are high in terms of just cross-referencing. So what you can always do is do 5 questions or 10 questions at a time, or finish up the questions on one page and then move to the next page. I know these sound very trivial, but they're very important. These small things can often make it or break it for you, right? And most importantly, in the 3 hours before, please do not discuss the GS paper. Take the time to rest, take the time to recover, to recoup, and then go all guns blazing while you attempt the CSAT paper. Okay? So these are a few things that you must know so that you know exactly what you're heading into. Very, very important. Now, I live in Delhi and I have been doing this for the last 2-3 years. Uh, my contact details, my public contact details are on the website. This number would be accessible from 5 a.m. in the morning from on the 5th of July. If you're in Delhi and you have an issue with the metro, you have an issue with the cab, if you've not booked a cab a day before or say the last minute the cab has been cancelled, please let me know. I will be on standby. One of my teammates will be on standby. We will come get you and we will drop you at the exam center, right? Or we will at least arrange for another vehicle or someone that we know in the vicinity around you to get you to the center. If you're in a different city and you're facing a similar problem, still reach out. I'll try to find somebody in that city who will be able to help you. I've already put people on standby across most exam centers through the country. Okay? But don't worry, don't panic. As far as your transportation is concerned, don't worry about it. If at all you are a few minutes late and the superintendent is not allowing you in, you're getting agitated, give me a call. I'll see what can be done. I'll see if we can persuade them. I can't promise anything, but don't worry. The next few days are going to be tough. If at any given point of time you are feeling a little too overwhelmed, you need someone to talk to, you need some help, please get back to me. Please reach out to me. I will try my level best. I'm going to be up with you. I'm going to be with you till your exam gets done. And I'm also going to close my day when you close your CSAT paper. Extremely important. So don't worry about it. There with you at all points of time. I've been doing this for the last 3 years and I do this with all the heart that I have. Some last few important poetic anecdotal points. For all of you who are appearing for the civil services, you have the courage that most people in your generation don't. You already are one of the most well-read people in your generation. It takes guts to pursue a dream which seems so inconsistent, which seems so uncertain, while a lot of your peers are trying to lead a life for themselves, while everybody else seems to be chasing a good life for themselves, materialistically, otherwise also. You have given your time to a goal, to be a part of something which is much bigger than yourself. It doesn't matter to me whether you clear the exam or not. The fact that you thought of national service, the fact that you thought of public service as a career option speaks volumes of you. And the fact that you're giving it a good shot on behalf of the country and myself, I will always be indebted to you for trying to serve the country. And that's all that matters. Don't worry about what happens later. Just those 100 questions, you and that exam hall. If there's anything else, please let me know. All the very best. I don't usually pray, but I honestly hope for the best that can happen to every one of you who's appearing for this exam. All the best. Take care. Give my love to your parents, and I will see you very, very soon with everything else post the 5th of June. Good luck.